there was a nurse sitting in there and she was crying, and I went up to her and I said, hey, you did a great job in there, just assuming that she was upset because of this high-stress situation she had just been involved in at the bedside 5 minutes before. And she said, no, it's not that. I just found out my husband got laid off. And it was this startling reminder that every pair of scrubs in the hospital is holding so much grief right now. In one day this week, we had 37 deaths and almost 3,000 new cases in one day, which is just astounding. I had this sense that I was probably overreacting, that it's probably going to be nothing, but I kept having to tell myself, what would I tell one of my employees to do? What is the advice that I would give to one of my nurses, and do that? We are very quickly trying to open a new COVID unit in our medical ICU. So you can see we have all of our PPE carts and pumps outside of the room going down this hallway. These COVID patients can't have any visitors, and we strip everything out of the room that doesn't have to be in here. It's been a long week for me already, but it's been an even longer week for the nurses on the COVID units. I stopped in to check on them, and they had had multiple patients die over the past 24 hours. And the ICU nurse in me wants to put on a gown and a mask and get in there and help out, but I know that everybody has a role to play in this crisis, and this one's mine. As a manager, these nurses don't work for me, I work for them. And now more than ever, that's a huge responsibility that I take really seriously.
Oh, I love them. I'm so happy.
I am now quarantined because I've tested positive for COVID-19. It's a very weird feeling because I don't really feel sick. I just have no sense of smell. And I noticed it. I was standing next to an essential oil diffuser, and someone quite a distance away from it mentioned how it smelled. And I looked over and realized I was standing right next to it and couldn't smell it. And I just felt my stomach drop. So I left and called my doctor and let them know what I was experiencing and requested a COVID swab, which I was able to do. There's a drive-through testing center right near where I work, right on the campus of my hospital. So I was able to drive through, and it's bizarre. It's so apocalyptic to drive up and be in line with these cars and have your car approached by someone in a hazmat suit with a Q-tip. Found out on Saturday, got the call that I had tested positive. So now my biggest fear is that I'm going to get sicker. Another thing that scares me about it is that there are people in the community that are having subtle symptoms or may not even know that loss of smell or taste is a symptom of COVID-19. And so they're continuing to walk around in the community, leave their homes, and possibly be positive and spreading this virus. People are walking around sick without realizing it. So I was finally able to return to work 10 days after I tested positive. I used my day that I tested positive as my day one of illness because I never ran fever, I never had a cough, none of the symptoms that you read about. At our peak, we had over 200 patients in our hospital in our COVID units, and as of today, we have somewhere in the 30s. I think yesterday we had 34 or 35 patients. I am standing in what was the first COVID unit that we opened at Our Lady of the Lake Hospital, and it is currently closed as of this afternoon. I'm not ready to let my breath out yet on it. I do still worry about another spike. I don't think COVID's over, but walking around this empty unit, I'm glad it's given us a break.